It me, da Doom. Welcome to the hall. Welcome, Wargamers, to my first list review and tactics guide. So, today I will be reviewing the list I brought to a Shadow in the East and actually got 5th place, which is pretty good. So, what makes this list good? What are its weaknesses? Its strengths? What does it do? First off, what's actually in the list? Well, you have to start with the general, Dane Ironfoot, Lord of the Iron Hills on Warboar, leading 10 warriors of Erebor with spear and shield, as well as 1 with a banner. Gloin leads the same warband, but without a banner. Then I have Galadriel, Lady of Light, as well as a Rivendell Knight Captain and 3 Rivendell Knights. All of them have shields. So that's what the list consists of. But what is this list's strengths? You need strengths to have a good list. So, what does it do best? Where is it good? Well, the first place to look is in its heroes. Their combat capability is incredible. Dane Ironfoot has Fight 6, Strength 5, Defense 8, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, 3 might, 3 will, 3 fate. 3's in all the right places. He's Courage 7, but he's also fearless, so courage doesn't really matter. But he's also got a 2-handed hammer and is burly. And something that's somewhat new for dwarf heroes is the ability to mount on a war pig. Actually, he's the only one who can do a war pig. And it's just about the most survivable. Actually, it is possibly besides the White Warg, just because it has fate, but actually has higher defense. The pig is more survivable than any other non-monstrous mount in the game. Yeah, so it's pretty spectacular, and it's just the 4 attacks on Dane, the knockdown. I mean, you need 4s against defense 6 and 7, 3s against defense 4 and 5, and against defense 3, 2s. It's just amazing. Then we have Gloin. Now, he's actually champion of Erebor. Obviously, he's leading Iron Hills. But Gloin is Fight 6, 3 attacks, Strength 4, 2 wounds, 3 might, 1 will, 1 defense. So he's definitely not as good as Dane, particularly because he can't be mounted. However, he is still excellent with that 3 might, Fight 6, 3 attacks, as well as he has Weapons Master, which complements his 2-handed weapon, giving him essentially burly. And he rerolls all failed to wounds of a 1. So, but that's not all, because he can actually piercing strike as well. So he's pretty much always going up to at least strength 5 to strength 7 with a +1 to wound and rerolling 1s. So actually, when they're on foot, he can sometimes deal even more damage than Dane Ironfoot can. Of course, it's important to keep in mind that Dane has much greater leadership capabilities, as well as far more survivability. And piercing striking is risky, so I usually only do it when he has might. However, it's still excellent. Gloin is still an excellent hero. So yeah, Dane is far better in pretty much every respect. But Gloin is amazing and can be a complete hero killer, a troop killer. In one of my games, he actually butchered over a warband of Urukai, which is pretty amazing. Sadly, Dane was just getting fed one guy the whole game because I didn't have any control that game. Except for the troll, he one-turned. He one-turned an Isengard troll at the beginning of the game. But then he was just getting fed guys, so he might have just killed half, maybe a bit over half of a warband. But then we go on to Galadriel. Her combat capabilities are definitely not as good as other heroes of her points level, but that's not really where she's supposed to be. That's only her secondary capability. Another secondary capability is she shuts down shooting. Combined with the defense 8 of the Iron Hills shield wall, she really shuts down shooting. But her main reason she's in this force is to fortify Spirit, Dane, Gloin, and the Rivendell Knight Captain, who are excellent. And essentially this means that they're immune to magic and can keep killing stuff, and she'll be immune to magic as well. In addition, she can also banish ring raids, which actually came out pretty well in the first game against Tim, where I won 12-1. He actually got third, which is pretty happy that I got that, so that win against him in the first round. Then the Rivendell Knight Captain. With an Elven Blade, Fight 6, a Lance, and a Horse, 2 Might, this guy is really solid. He does share some weaknesses along with his other knights, such as losing a defense whenever he's dismounted, and the fact that he loses a lot of his killing power and ability to win the fights when dismounted. However, he still is a great archer, like his fellow knights, needing only a 3-up to hit with his Strength 3 bow. So these heroes are really good, and they're really powerful and synergetic as well in a way, which I'll talk about more soon. But the real meat of this force is the Iron Hills Warriors. 20 strong. Now, the stat that most people look at is their ability to go, their special rule to go to defense 8. This doesn't really help in regular combat very much, actually. It mainly helps against shooting, but it doesn't help very much in close combat. It actually helps a lot during shooting. But what the Iron Hills really do well in combat is because of why they do very well, is Strength 4, Fight 4, Defense 7. That is an amazing combination. It's why Khazad Guard have always been considered the best infantry in the game by many players. And these are better than Khazad Guard because they can carry spears, making an incredible shield wall. They are very, very powerful and extremely hard to take down. In fact, in only 2 of my games was I ever broken, which is pretty good. So then the Rivendell Knights. These complement the steady, firm, and nearly impossible to destroy Iron Hills shield wall. They provide a bit of shooting, though honestly it's not that much, but mainly they provide mobility as well as an Elven Blade. Now you might be wondering, Elven Blade, is that really such a desirable thing? It actually is, because combined with all my heroes being Fight 6, adding an Elvish Blade in the fight means that I don't necessarily have to Heroic Strike, even, because I'll still be having a 66.6 repeated chance of winning the fight, where they'll only have a 33.3 repeated chance, rather than only a 50-50 if we both roll the same number of dice. And if I roll more dice, I'll have an even greater chance. So it just means that they're excellent. And the Rivendell Knight Captain can do this himself, as well as just, he's already Fight 6, a hero, can Heroic Strike, and do lots of stuff. Heroic Combat, they're just excellent. They do tend to get dismounted, but then there's also the mobility. They can move on to objectives, move around from flank to flank, get to various places, and hit the enemy where they need to be hit. Dane is also somewhat of a mobility unit because he's riding a pig. So, yeah, that's the strength of this army. It's nearly immune to magic, or its heroes anyway. Can banish ring raids, absolutely kills troops and heroes. Can deal with powerful stuff pretty easily with Strength 4, lances, Elven Blades, as well as it just doesn't die, butchers through enemy lines, and has some excellent mobility. But with all these strengths, where are the weaknesses? So, with all the strengths, there have to be weaknesses. And there definitely are some weaknesses. There are 2. The smaller weakness is the fact that 4 Elven shots is just not enough to win all the shooting wars. Sure, you have Galadriel, Lady of Light, but you can't quite do enough in shooting to bring the enemy to you. One other weakness you could say it kind of has is a lack of offensive magic. Can't do transfixes, compels, or sorceress blasts. It does have banishment via Galadriel, but you do have to keep in mind that's only against spirits, which is mainly ring wraiths. Albeit there are quite a few of those out in the world, it's still something you have to keep note of, being as, you can't use offensive magic against anyone. However, you can counter the enemy's magic, and you can kill most stuff without too much difficulty. And if it is plenty of difficulty, it's simply quite a few might points in a turn or two to bring down even the toughest of units that the enemy can throw at you. So she pretty much just keeps the heroes around doing what they're supposed to do so that you can destroy the enemy, and she's even pretty good in combat herself. So the last weakness, and the one that is the most prominent, is the lack of numbers. 27 models is not that many. So yeah, it's 4 powerful heroes, 20 Iron Hills dwarves, and 3 Rivendell knights. So they're all very good units, but you have to keep in mind that your numbers are low. You can't really afford to lose too many guys. I mean, yeah, you've got plenty of armor and you're not going to lose too many, but you still have to be careful not to lose many, because it can happen, and if it does, you're in trouble. The good news is that even when you're broken, Dane will keep everyone around, and everybody is high courage anyway. So it is one thing to note, though, because in the likes of Reconnoiter, even Domination, if you're not careful, and just objective games in general, you can be just so outnumbered that even if they kill far more than they themselves are killed, such as in one of my games against Bob's Isengard, I killed more infantry units, one of his heroes, he didn't kill any of mine, my heroes were fine, and a troll, but he still won because he simply had so many numbers that when he killed pretty much all my warriors, and I'd even killed more guys, it still wasn't enough to hold the ground. So that's one thing to know, is the numbers can come back and hurt you, and that's its main weakness. So that is the end of part 1 of this video. Be sure to stay tuned for part 2, and until then, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Support your Hobbit hobby, and Akmin Ruki Astu. Thank you.